You are not who you really think you are. In fact, there's two different parts of you. There's two different parts of me. There's two different parts to everybody. The first part of you is your true self. And the second part of you is your conditioned self. So let me explain. Your true self is who you come into the world as. And your conditioned self is who you've learned to be as a way to survive in this world. Now, we all come into this world as an empty cup, open, loving, accepting, but we try to fit into the world by learning things and filling up with information. And this becomes almost like our operating system, our personality of who we think we are. And oftentimes that conditioning is basically the programming, the conditioning of a young child that was domesticated from your parents, from society, and everyone else projecting their beliefs onto you, learning from your teachers, learning from entertainment, TV, whatever it might be. You're filling yourself up with all of this information to become this conditioned self. And it was created by the assumptions of a young child, the rules and the beliefs of others, but oftentimes not really your own. And most of who you are today is that conditioning that you now define yourself as that this is who you are. Now, you were created, this conditioning was created by you as a way to survive, but not to thrive. Not to thrive. And that's why, guys, I believe it's very important to have this awareness. Awareness that most of who you are is this conditioning. You didn't consciously choose it. You didn't consciously think when you're a child, hey, I want to design the belief systems, the thoughts, the emotions. I want to design my vision, my future, and who I am, and create myself so that I can have the best quality experience of life. You didn't do that. But by at least being conscious and aware of this now, you can start that process today. You can start the process of reconditioning yourself to accessing more of who you really are, your true self, of who you came into this world as. Nobody is born into this world evil. Nobody is born into this world bad. When you want to understand why someone does what they do, why does a terrorist commit suicide and kill other people in the process, or why do people do these horrible things, or these different things that you might look at and you're like judging them for it. Why would they do that? I don't understand. It's not because they're born that way. It's because they've been conditioned that way. They've gone through experiences through their life that have molded and shaped them into who they are. They've cultivated their beliefs and values so that they became that way, which determined the decisions that they've made at this stage of their life. And they're unconscious of it for the most part. Most people just live their life unconsciously. It's like a tape that gets played of your conditioning that is running 24/7 on autopilot habitually. And you got to understand, guys, that tape that's playing, this conditioning, again, it's not who you are. You have to learn to disidentify with that you're more than that, and other people are much more than that as well. You can't define people based on that. You have to look at beyond that. This is where I'm going to get deep. Their spirit, their soul, their essence, their true self. That's what you have to see in other human beings when you meet, you communicate with them, rather than judging them for their conditioning, which is what's determining their behaviors and their decisions that you might not like or agree with. Look at their true self, their true essence of who they really are. And understand that we can use this in understanding that we are not the tape, but we're the tape recorder. We're not the operating system, we're the computer, we're the hardware. And that we have control. We can make decisions that can change ourselves and recondition ourselves to become whoever we want to be, to shift our lives, to Man, if you want to create happiness in your life, you can do it. If you want to create financial freedom and abundance, you can do it. If you want to create more love and passionate, you can do that too. If you want to be more spiritually connected, you can do anything that you want to set your mind to. But it's going to require you to overcome the conditioning that is limiting you. Now, some conditioning might be serving you, can be benefiting you, great. But the part of us that isn't, this negative conditioning that's holding us back, this fear, this doubt, this insecurity, low self-esteem, worry and anxiety and stress, all of that, guys, can be changed. You can reprogram it, man. It's just like taking a tape and recording over the tape, right? Because the people that you see in life that are happy, successful, great life, great relationships, they've conditioned themselves to be that way. Either maybe they've had a great upbringing and they just naturally are that way and had it. Other people like myself, who was not born that way, was not conditioned in an empowering way, I had to overcome the negative conditioning, all the limitations, all of that, to shift myself, to condition myself to who I am today. Okay? You guys got to understand that if you want to change your life, you got to be willing to change your conditioning and overcome it. That's what a lot of self-development is for. The whole self-help industry, guys, the books, the resources, the trainings, the seminars, the coaches, is to help you overcome it. It's a long-term journey, never-ending journey, man. I'm always, things that have negative associations, beliefs, and things like that I'm always reconditioning and trying to overcome in my life so that I can create a better life, a better future, more happy, better version of myself, more of my true self. So how do you access your true self? How do you access that? The best way is to disidentify. Disidentify with your mind. Understand that you're not what's within the glass, but you're what's holding what's in the glass. And that you have to be able to distinguish yourself from the mind. So let me give you guys an education about the mind. Your mind is amazing. Your mind can serve you in so many different ways. It's what allows you to have ideas and creativity and different thoughts and insights and distinctions, and a lot of strategizing, a lot of incredible things can come from your mind. But you also have to understand the limitations of your mind. Your mind has a purpose. It's got an evolutionary and biological purpose, and that purpose is for survival. And it wants to keep you safe and it wants to protect you. That's the job of your mind, okay? And so your mind is always going to have fear. It's going to create fear. It's going to create anxiety. It's going to create stress. It's going to create these thoughts and emotions as a way to protect you. Okay, it's a protection mechanism, your mind. And so what it's going to do is going to create limiting beliefs and stories and doubt and all these things to help protect you so that you can stay in your comfort zone and stay safe. The problem with that, though, is that, yes, it does keep you surviving, keeps you your brain's going to keep you alive for as long as you possibly can, right? Which is great. The problem, though, is that it's not going to allow you to grow, and it's not going to allow you to really experience what you want, because all of what you want is outside your comfort zone. It's going to require you to step outside what is already familiar and known for you, which the mind does not like, right? Because it doesn't like the unknown. So you have to step out of that and take certain actions and risks that you have to overcome these fears. Because the fear that we had, guys, it's not as useful today, because it was useful thousands of years ago when you had to protect yourself from wild animals and harsh living conditions. But today, there's not as much to fear like there used to be thousands of years ago. So to overcome this, we have to face our fears, get outside of our comfort zone. We have to kind of go against the doubt and the stories, the negative limitations that our mind is creating to keep us safe, and push ourselves beyond that. Okay, that's how you grow. That's how you change your life. You have to change up your conditioning, which your mind does not want you to do. Your mind is like, I want you to think of it this way. Your mind is like a sentry on a ship. The sentry on the ship, its job is to look out for threats. It's going to say, hey, look out for this, watch out for this, right? That's all it's going to do. But you're not the sentry of the ship, you're the captain of the ship. And the captain of the ship has the bigger picture in mind. It understands the purpose of the sentry, that it's doing its job, but you have to force yourself as the captain to not always pay attention to that part of yourself, but also to focus on more empowering things and the good things that will serve you. So the direct path, guys, to communicating with your true self and accessing that is by quieting the mind. Quieting the mind. Not listening to the mind as much. Not getting caught up in your mind as much. Okay, not living in your head as much. Because if you are, then you're always going to be limited in your life, because your mind will always create limitations. It will always create stories. That's just the mind doing its job. So you can't always live there. Now, what I just gave you guys is the secret that people spend 40 years meditating in a cave to figure out and discover. To quiet their minds, to be more present, to separate and witness their mind from an observer position. Okay, that's what you have to be able to do. That's what meditation is about. Enlightenment. Learning how to calm the mind and not have it always be racing and trying to do what it's doing. So when you learn to quiet your mind, then your true self shows up. Your higher self shows up, because your higher self, your true self, only gets blocked by your conditioned mind. Okay? So meditation is great for this, guys. Helps to quiet your mind. I believe that action is one of the best ways. People say you should aim, ready, fire. I look at the other way, guys. I look at ready, fire, aim. Okay? Boom. You take action. It might not be the right action, but then you aim afterwards and you redirect yourself, because your mind is going to prevent you from taking action. Or your mind's going to prevent you from starting. It's going to say, well, Stefan, you can't start yet because of this and because of this. You don't have the time yet. You don't have the money yet. And this story and that story. It's going to create all these stories. Okay, let me be very direct with you guys. Stop buying into the stories that other people have created for you. And stop buying into the stories that you've created for yourself that aren't serving you. You create the own story for your life. You create the story for your life. And you decide the stories that you're going to buy into, the beliefs, do they serve you or do they not serve you? That's the only thing that I care about, guys. The conditioning, the stories, what my mind's creating it, is it serving me? Is it empowering me? If it's not, I'm not going to buy into it, because listen, guys, most of the stories that you're buying into and you believe are the crap that you've taken from other people throughout your life, of them projecting their limitations, their stories onto you. You've bought into them. And whatever you believe that you think is true for you will be true for you, whether it's based on actuality or reality or not. Your reality is based on what you believe. Okay? Your beliefs can serve you. Your stories can serve you. You could buy into the fact and say, I had this horrible childhood. All these negative things happened to me. And so therefore, that's why I'm the way that I'm in. That's why I can't succeed. That's a story that you've created. That's just your own story that you've created. Other people had the exact same childhood and experiences, and they say, because I had this childhood, because it was tough, because it was hard, because of that, it made me more, and because of that, I'm able to be successful, because how could I not be successful after I've gone through all that? I don't want to have to go through that again, and I don't want other people to have to go through that either. They created an empowering story from the same event, the same experience. So you're in charge of the stories. You get to decide what conditioning you want to believe. And that's the process of reconditioning yourself. Now, there's many different ways you can do it, guys. And I got a little bit sidetracked here, but let's talk about conditioning for a moment. Okay, I believe in having a ritual in your life, and ritual as something you do every morning or every day as a way to condition yourself. It's like going to the gym, right? How do you get bigger muscles? How do you get in shape? You go to the gym, you train them, and you push them every day, and you condition it. Your muscles repair itself, they get stronger, they rebuild, and you can change your body that way. Same thing with your mind, same thing with who you are. You've got to create rituals in your life that you do every single day. I call it a morning ritual. You do that every single day to condition yourself. Every single day. For example, for me, I do affirmations. I have certain phrases that I say again and again and again to myself out loud with my body, with my emotion, with total certainty. And I say it again so I integrate and ingrain that into my mind, my subconscious mind. Whatever it is that I want to be. If I want to be more confident in my life, I'll say, I am confident. I am assertive. I am confident. I am confident. I have so much certainty. I can do anything. I can achieve anything that I set my mind to. And I'll say that again and again and again. And you know what? Sure enough, I'm reconditioning myself. I'm reconditioning my mind and my subconscious, right? If I want to be happy in my life, I'll say, I'm so happy. I'm so grateful. I'm so blessed. I'm so fulfilled in my life. I just feel so happy and grateful for every experience of my life. Condition it again and again and again. Now, at first you might be like, well, this is bullshit. It's not going to work. But sure enough, you just do it again and again and again. You say something enough times with enough certainty and emotion, then you get associated to it. Just like how a lot of the negative stuff you believe in your life, you only believe it because other people said it to you again and again and again, and you adopted that belief. Or you've said those things to yourself again and again and again that you've also believed them as well. So affirmations are great. Reading books, learning, courses and trainings and audio programs, podcasts, all those things. You're reconditioning your mind because you're filling it up with the beliefs of other people that are more successful or happy or more, they've achieved more in their life. You're taking on their belief system, their mindset, right? So reading and learning is great for that. I think one of the best ways is to be around people. Be around other people that are successful, that are happy, that are fit, that have amazing relationships, because just by being in their presence, you automatically take on their beliefs and their thoughts and their whole way of being and living, right? You take it on just by osmosis. So being around people is also a powerful way. I mean, if you're around negative people all day, people that complain and bitch and whine and, they're all always negative, you're going to be influenced by that, whether you're aware of it or not. I don't care how disciplined you might think you are, you will be influenced by your environment. So change your environment, man. Hey, it might mean moving out from your parents' house. I had to do that. It was tough. I had to quit working for the family business because I was being negatively influenced by my dad, and I love my dad, but I had to decide, you know what? I've got to be in a more empowering environment, because not one that's going to limit me in my life and create more negative conditioning that's going to be way harder to overcome later in my life. Jim Rohn, the great motivational speaker, said, stand guard at the door of your mind. Stand guard at the door of your mind, because one negative thought, one negative comment from someone else can seep into your subconscious mind, and you might not even be aware of it, but can affect you many years later, right? That's why for me, I'm always standing guard at my mind. Man, people that are negative, they're not entering into my life. I want to surround myself with people that are happy and positive and amazing quality human beings, not the ones that are going to, bring me down to their negative level. So be aware of this, guys, that you can recondition yourself. There's processes to it. I've got a course called Morning Ritual Mastery that can help you at morningritualmastery.com that will help you create these rituals in your life to recondition yourself. And then also I've got a course called Life Mastery Accelerator that shares a lot of techniques and strategies on how to condition yourself as well. So the resources are there for you if you need the help. I'm here for you, okay? But also learning how to quiet your mind, not living out of your head as much. I know there's a lot of you out there that get caught up in your mind way too much, okay? You have to get out of your mind and learn not to listen to it as much, because the thoughts that you have are not real. They're not true, okay? It's your choice whether you buy into them or not. That's why you want to separate yourself as the observer. Okay, this is a spiritual concept. There's a great book called The Untethered Soul. Great book, highly recommend reading it. But learning to separate yourself from it, not being too analytical, not too much in your head, because that's what stops people from doing anything or starting. as they get caught up in their head. Learn to use your mind to strategize and have ideas and whatnot, but don't live in your mind. That's where you got to meditate, sports, action, dance, a lot of activities you can do to get out of your head, right? For me right now, speaking and doing a video like this and public speaking allows me to get out of my head. I'm not thinking, caught up in my head right now. I'm present, and I'm just trusting the answers are flowing through me. So don't live in your head as much, guys. Understand your conditioned self is not really who you are, and you can free yourself from it by learning to quiet your mind, just like people have done for years meditating, to be able to accomplish that. You can accomplish that as well through multiple different methods, and to decide that you're going to condition yourself based on who you want to be, not based on other people's stories, not based on the past. The past is over. The past has no value to you anymore. So stop living there. Stop even focusing on the past. The value from the past is that you learn and extract the lessons from it, but beyond that, you can't do anything about it. So right now is an opportunity for you to become whoever you want to be. It's you deciding that I'm going to live my life today, tomorrow, the days after that, starting now, living as the person that I want to be. That I'm not defined by my past. That person's served me throughout my life, that way of being, that conditioned self. But now, starting today, I'm conditioning myself to be this person. More confident, more happy, more free, more generous, more loving, more passionate. That's the person I want to be, and I'm going to start conditioning and being that way. And at first, you know what? Your conditioned self is going to creep up. These thoughts are going to get in your head and say, you can't do this, you can't do that. Quiet the mind, say thank you for sharing, and then you move on. Stop buying into it, okay? So hopefully this can help you guys to free yourself and understand who you really are, your true self, and the true self of others. You're so much more than you think you are. You're so much more capable of more than what you could ever possibly imagine. That you can become more. You're not a tree. You're not a fixed mentality. You can grow. You can expand. You can shift your life. And it's just going to require you understanding that you can recondition and not buying into your thoughts and the mind, and you create the belief systems that serve and empower you in your life to live the life that you want, to become who you really want to be. And if you need help, you know where to find me. You know the courses, the trainings that I have at projectlifemastery.com. I hope that you take me up on it. Would love to serve you, help you become more, to access your true self, to have that freedom, that power in your life, because you deserve it. And I don't want to see you suffer. I don't want to see you continuing to allow the conditioned self hold you back in your life, as I see for most people it does. And they live their whole life not even aware of what I just shared with you guys. Not even aware of it. But now you are. So now you have the choice to change, to become, or stay the same. It's up to you. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you again soon. God bless.